This video is a special one. I hope you stay until the end because I made it first of all on the request coming from one of you. Thank you so much, Vamsrock, for playing with me and telling me what your request is. I asked you at some point, I wanted to do more interactive videos with all of you, and so I really do appreciate your requests. And here is the one. I'm gonna be talking in this video about my inspiration, about the projects I'm making, a little bit about the way I'm making them, so you'll know how do they come to life. So please stay tuned. It's Asia Marquet here, Lemon Creation, and I'm revealing a lot of secrets here. I need to admit this video scared me a little. I took some time preparing it, and I decided to show you all I can possibly show you, explain my process, explain a little bit how it all started. I'm giving you a small sneak peek into my room. It's not actually only my room, my craft room, it's also a sort of bureau of my husband, because he still does a little bit of teleworking. So I'm working with him. And I wanted to show you how it all started. This is the very beginning, 2019, just before COVID. I started doing a lot of doodling. I always loved doodling, you know, when I was doing something I was always doodling, but the things I was doodling, they weren't making any sense and I really didn't like them. So finally I decided to start actually, you know, learn a little bit about mark makings, about doodling, about drawing. There are a lot of things, you know, drawn in this journal, in this small journal, which I actually based on some drawings on internet. But for example, these flowers, they are totally mine. The page before, or this page on the right hand side, that's the you know, that's the beginning of my stamps. This page turned into a geometrical grunge stamp set. So this was a long time coming. And that's how I actually fell in love with, you know, drawing and doodling and mark makings. And so this is my magical folder underneath, and this is the you know, I don't know how is it called in English, but the pad, you know, on which you can draw when you are sitting, for example, you can draw on your knees. And those are my digital files, or rather drawings, which I turn into digital files. I was, as you can see, those are some of them worked, some of them didn't, but the ones which I liked, I turned them into digi files, which are available in my shop right now. And as you can see, I took a lot of inspiration from the book I just showed you, and that's the finished version. I print them out on the photo paper. This is Canon photo paper, which I'm using. I absolutely love it since a long time I'm using it. It's, I think, 170 grams, and it's matte. It's so much better matte photo paper. It gives you a really nice result, a really nice end result. And those are the trees I did, or I drawn rather. I was just, you know, inspired by Christmas a little bit. I wanted to do a funky trees, a little bit grungy, a little bit like classic ones, and that's what I'm using for making them. Those are uni pins, fine liners. I'm sorry, they are permanent, so you know, they have archival ink inside, so you know, they don't smudge and they are quite nice to work with. I also use very you know, cheap ones also, which are getting bad very quickly. Those are the cheap ones, which are a little bit, the nib is a little bit thicker, and so like that my lines are a little bit thicker, because all of my drawings, to later use them either on stamps or on stencils or on digifiles, they are later on turned into a vector image in Photoshop. That's a completely different story. I'm not even gonna go into that because I'm still learning Photoshop. It's a very difficult program to me anyway, and I'm struggling a lot, but I learned the basics and that's what I'm using. So these ones are my stars. They are also digistars. I print them now on these ones are printed on the normal printing paper. I do them in different sizes, so like that I can compare things, and as you can see, some of the motifs are a little similar to the Christmas trees, so I repeat some of the motifs. I try to still change them. And you can see now the difference between printing on the regular printing paper and on the photo paper. The image is much crisper. What I don't do though is I never copy somebody else's image, and even when I take some kind of type of patterns for my stencils from the free for commercial use pages, I never use them as they are. I always change them. I always add something mine. And here is my my magical box, which I am about to turn into probably a book. Again, one of the original books, like drawings and stuff like that. And I wanted to show you some of my drawings very quickly though, because they are not done yet and I really do want to change them into a book, so we'll see what's gonna happen. And I'm not showing you all of them because of the obvious reason. I want them to be a little bit of surprise when I turn them into a small book of paper elements to cut. But this is basically what I'm doing and what I love to do. To get a little bit of grunge, I just came to that idea by accident, really. I have some leftovers from the paints I was using, and I love drawing on the leftovers because later, and this is one of my secrets, so try to keep it for yourself. You can get the beautiful images when you work on them, and they will have colors which you probably wouldn't be able to color unless you are really great artist and you know how to color very well, which I am not. But that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be able to get it, if I just drew images on the white piece of paper and then try to color them. And so this way you can get something which looks like that. You can see the images are colored really nicely, and that's basically what I'm doing. I work later with Photoshop to change it, of course, to make it, turn it into a digital files, but otherwise I really love drawing on the papers, and that's what I'm doing. Look guys, there are things which work, there are things which doesn't work, all of that, I leave the white places, and I never draw only on the paint part of the paper. I love to put my designs and my drawings on the side also, so I have a little bit of white, I have a little bit of colors, and those are all of my designs which I am gonna be trying to turn into a book for you, and I hope you'll appreciate that. And I hope I'm gonna make it quite soon. And these ones are the books I already have in my shop, and that's the drawings I made. Once again, they are all handmade, they are all mine. And what is my inspiration? Nature. I absolutely love nature. I love flowers. I'm trying, my garden is not very big, but I'm trying to put so many trees and flowers in it that, sometimes I'm thinking soon I will not be able to walk in it. And I'm gonna, by the way, show you a little bit of my garden a little bit later on in the video. And those are the black and white designs, which, the stains from the paint, they make stains later when I transfer them into black and white designs. So I find it also very cool. On top of that, on this paper you can actually color, so it's cool. Watercoloring, I wouldn't advise, even though I tried and it's possible, but markers, no problems, because the paper is quite thick, so you can also color to your liking. As I said before, I'm really inspired by nature, but I cannot really take a flower. Well, I can. I've done it already. Take a flower from my garden and draw it. I prefer actually to print them out. I take again royalty-free images. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Even those are the photos. I never use the photos. I do the drawings by myself. But those are the drawings based on the photos. But I don't want to get into conflict with anybody. I don't want to copy anybody's work, because also I appreciate that somebody put some time and efforts to do something. So that's what I'm doing. As you can see, some of the things, or a lot of things, are not perfect, but those are my imperfect things. And the last page, as you've seen, the Christmas one, it's available in my shop as a digifile and a hard copy. And this, maybe you've seen it before already. It's I actually made a small video when I was drawing one of my stencils. One of the last stencil is called Shattered. I started with this stencil by using a kind of round plastic plate which came from some kind of food from the shop, and at the bottom it had etched kind of like a, I don't know, it's not a spiral, but kind of like things which coming from the from the middle to the long lines, which are coming from the middle to the edges. And I paint them with the black paint, acrylic paint, and just stamp them onto the paper. And then I changed them. I added a little bit more drawing in between, and I use a little bit more of black to make it nicer. And then I also changed it a little bit in Photoshop by making it a little bit bigger and a little bit kind of lopsided maybe. And as you can see, guys, the inspiration can come from, you know, small tiny things you don't even know. I just wanted to throw the packaging. I looked at it and I just saw my husband looking at me when I was looking at the packaging, and he said, we're gonna do some mixed media with that. And I said, well, of course we're gonna do some mixed media with that. So those small things, you know, you just have inspiration and it comes to you like that, and it's very funny. And this is one of my latest stencils. Here it is, the Shattered. And there is also another way I am drawing my stencils. I can be inspired. For example, there was St. Valentine's Day, so I decided to make something for St. Valentine's. There was Halloween, I decided to make something for Halloween. And so I'm doing things also like that, just based on the, not really on inspiration, you know, on something I see, but rather than, you know, some event which is coming. Yeah, I'm using bullet journal for that because it's it just has the small dots. So, you know, the small dots are not that visible in a Photoshop or when I later change it. So I don't have that much work, you know, to kind of erase them. And I change them, of course, a little bit if I find them that, you know, they cannot be really cut into a stencil, there is something missing, or I want to make them just simply more grungy. So those are my very first stencils, which I used to make on my silhouette machine, which is not great for making stencils, believe me. And those are the ones which I am producing now, which are very, very sturdy and really nice to use for any mixed media or with any mixed media pastes. And this stencil is called Sweet Valentine, that's the end effect. And that was made just because I knew that St. Valentine's is coming. So I said to myself, yes, I have to do something for that holiday. Those two paper printouts, but they are stencils like that, which are called the blacks and the reds. And those are the only ones amongst my whole products which I actually, for which I used royalty-free images of, you know, hearts and I don't really know the names of the, you know, symbols on the cards, because I wanted to use them for Alice in Wonderland. This is a stencil which I drew, you know, one part which I'm just showing you, and later in Photoshop I just changed it into 4 parts of different sizes. And I need to tell you that this is the type of doodling I love. And I've done it just while watching something, you know, just a simple doodling, which I later thought, oh, okay, that would be cool to turn into stencils. And I struggled with it for a long time, trying to, you know, come up with a nice stencil. And finally I got this idea to, you know, make 4 parts of it with different sizes. So like that, you know, it looks cool, I think. This stencil Latin, I use the font, which is also free for commercial use, to just add my own words to it and just symbols and numbers. And the pattern ones, as I said, I usually find the pattern on the you know, on the web page, and I always change it, and it's always a pattern free for commercial use, no royalty free. But as I said, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, so I am always changing it into something completely mine. But I also do my own patterns, like those two stencils, tic-tac-toe and back to square one, or wavy lines. There is a lot of stencils which I actually use my own imagination to make them, you know, making pattern and just printing them out. So here is the question, what is that? It looks like not too much, but those are my very first trials. Before I made this GNOME and Company set of DG and paper printouts, and those are also projects of my stamps, and that's how I'm making them also. You know, I love grunge, so I use paint. I don't know if you can see the paint, the splatter of course, and a little bit of doodling. And the other inspiration are the things I see on the street. For example, those are stuck metal fences, which I took and changed into a photo, and later I changed them into a stamp. So that's the part of my stamp. So texture, you can see them on the bottom right hand side. Those are actually, they are coming from these photos. But I take photos of everything almost. These ones are the tiles at my parents-in-law. This one is the doormat. So, and guess what is that? Well, of course, this is a tree stamp, which I turn into black and white, and later I turn also into a stamp, the one on the left hand side on the bottom. So the inspiration can come from so many different things, but let's talk about, come back to the stencils. This one is one of my favorite stencils, I think, ever, and I took a photo while at my parents-in-law, and they have this beautiful tree which is way much bigger than mine. They, by the way, sent me this one for my birthday, and I planted in my garden. I think it's called cornucopia, I'm not sure, and it actually, I took a picture of that. I took a picture of a branch. Later I had a lot of work because, as you can see, there is a lot of branches, there is a lot of small tiny leaves, and I had to remove them in the Photoshop and work around this stencil to make it so it actually is staying together, you know, it's not falling into pieces. It took me a lot of time, but I managed. I absolutely love this tree, and I'm so happy that I have it. And so what we are at it, I'm gonna show you a tiny bit of my garden. I absolutely love everything which is green. So it's November, and we have these cherry trees which even though it doesn't give any fruits, it's blossoming twice a year, in the spring and in the autumn, in November. I am so in love with this tree, and also my small azalea on the table, which is opening her flowers, or getting her flowers. My goodness, it's too late, guys. And this is my cat, who is trying to go inside the house. And so I really hope I answer your question, Vamsrock, and I hope you all like this video. I wanted to show you, you know, that I actually love what I do, even though it's sometimes very hard. But this has been my motto for a few years already, and I'm sharing it with you, and I'm trying to live up to it, and I hope you will too. And so weird to not leave photos of the project at the end of my video, but I just put these ones to be able to say thank you to you for watching, for subscribing, and for supporting me by commenting, by being here with me, by making a purchase. I really do appreciate that. I hope this video was somehow good for you, in a sense that, you know, you get to know me a little bit better. I'm sending you big hugs, and let me know what would you like me to do next. See you in my next video, I hope. Bye bye.